Hi there, this is Karen with InspiredByGram.com. Welcome to my channel. So last Friday I did a Facebook Live and I had created this card here as an inspiration card, kind of plain card, but we decided that we would make it a little bit different, of course, a lot different, using some of the Butterfly Bijou Designer Series paper. So I'm going to show you how I came up with this card. We'll make it together. But first thing I want to do is just go over the products that I used with this card design here. So we've got the new Butterfly Bijou Designer Series paper. It's a 6x6 paper pack, and I've got mine here kind of like clipped together with a binder clip. So if you can see here, this is the sheet that I kind of use the most, but I've got lots of scraps there in that pile. But what this is a perfect match to the Brilliant Wings dies. Okay, so let me just show you the one that I'm talking about. It's this one here. So this die here, and it's probably going to be hard to see, but we'll cut out these butterflies that are on the 6x6 paper. So let me just show you the template I created so you can kind of get a better idea of how it all kind of looks. So that's using this larger die, and then in the die set there's some other fabulous dies as well. More outline of the butterflies and some kind of like 3D images as well. So this is really a great paper, great die set combination. And if you don't like to color, then this is kind of a die set and paper pad for you. So let me just show you the huge stamp. So I have mine. This is called the Butterfly Brilliance. So mine is on an F block. You can also put this on the Stamparatus and stamp that way. For me, I prefer just a little bit more, I'm kind of just go for it and call it good. But this is the case here that the stamp set comes in. So that is that. So let me just show you how we created this card. We'll go over the paper products I used. So we've got some basic white, and it's cut 8.5 by 5.5. I've already pre-scored it at 4 1/4. And then I've got two other pieces here. This is a panel of basic black. It's cut 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and then the basic white is going to go right on top of that, and that's just 1/8 of an inch smaller, so 3 3/4 by 5. And then here's the strip of basic white. It's 3/4 of an inch tall, and then it really doesn't matter how long it is because I'm going to trim it down. It just needs to be long enough for that stamp. The sentiment I'm using is called Life is Better with a Friend Like You, and that comes from Peaceful Moments. It's a cling stamp set. We are going to heat emboss as well, so I'm going to show you that technique and also a splatter technique as well with the blends. So I've got that strip of basic black. I have my Versamark ink. I love to use my embossing buddy. Now we don't carry this anymore, but I really love to use it. It's just a bag of powdery substance. I believe it's cornstarch. It just removes the kind of static and a little, fingerprints. You just kind of tap it on there and call it good. And in Vermont right now, it's so super, super dry and not humid at all. So it's that time of year I just want some humidity back in the air. All right, so here's our white embossing powder. I just keep mine in a container like this. I've had it for years. It holds up very well. And it's got kind of two sections. It doesn't really matter. It just kind of falls in both. And I have a little silver spoon here and a silica gel, which kind of takes away the moisture when we do have humidity here in Vermont. So I'm going to put that aside over there, get that ready to go. And then my stamp here is mounted on an H block. I'm going to take my Versamark ink, which is a clear sticky ink, and I just like to take, I just have more control with the Versamark pad by taking the ink pad to the red rubber cling stamp. And I'm going to flip this over, and then I'm going to stamp right down, hopefully right in the center for you and straight. I'm just going to move my fingers back and forth just to get that ink right on there, and it's Could be a little bit crooked, I can't really tell because you really can't see it, but we'll give it a try and see how it turns out. So I'm just gonna take my powder and bring it right back here so you can kind of see, and I'm just going to just run it across just like that, and it's not too bad, so I'm gonna go with this. And then before I turn my embossing machine on, I'm gonna close this up because we don't want the powder to go like everywhere. So I've got my Stampin' Up! Heat tool off to the side here. Now this is gonna make some noise similar to a hair dryer. But what I'm gonna do is it's got two settings on it, so a 1 and a 2. I always like to go to the 2 because I need hot air coming through, which is going to melt the powder onto the cardstock here. So I'm gonna turn it on, and then it's gonna heat up. And once it heats up, it's gonna start kind of melting the powder, and the words are gonna start to be bright white. So it is starting to turn bright white, and that's a good thing because I know that the powder is melting, and it's going to be sticking to the cardstock. Okay, just like that, doesn't take too long, and we'll call it good. So heat embossing was the first thing I ever did and tried as a card maker. It was like 10 years ago, and it sold me, and it was actually making the swallowtail butterfly. We embossed it in gold, and that sold me, and that's how I became a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So just attended someone else's in-home party. All right, so we've got that good. We're gonna let this cool down. We'll set it aside. So we're gonna work on this panel here. And now let me just show you the splatter technique here. If you can see on the background of this card, it's kind of like splattered all over. So we're gonna do that next. And to do that, you definitely want some scrap paper underneath your work surface. As you can see, I kind of missed the other night and I have a bunch of it on there. But you can take whatever color you want to work with your blends. And I'm going to remove the cap that's on the brush tip. So there's a brush tip and a chisel point. We'll take off that cap, and you gotta work with it slowly, okay? Because this felt tip, we don't wanna break it, but we're just gonna kind of flick it against the cap, okay? So we're just gonna like this, just gentle flick marks. And you can see I'm making lots of splatter throughout that white cardstock, and you can put as much as you want on it. I think that's good. Again, really small, gentle brush strokes will get you some nice splatter effect. Now you can do the same thing with Wink of Stella, and I don't have the Wink of Stella with me on my craft table, but if I remember, we'll try to do that at the very end to just get some glitz on there. So, all right, we're gonna put this card together now. It's pretty much easy going after this. So we'll grab our basic black. I'm done with that scrap paper. I like to work with my silicone craft sheet. You guys see me use this a lot. It actually helps me start the Stampin' Seal. So I always just kind of put my adhesive over the edge of it and then just start pulling on it, and that starts the adhesive, and it kind of rolls out really nice. All right, so now I'm focusing on the lower corner here. Just remember, 1/8 of an inch border, so you don't have a lot to work with. And once you get this one set, everything else should fall in place. I just run my fingers up to the top here and then lay this out, and then just rub it around. You can also press from the back side as well. I did pop this one up with dimensionals, so we'll grab some of those Stampin' Dimensionals. We'll need to use 5 because this is rather large panel. And then we're just gonna add 5 of these throughout the back side. And then to remove the backings, you can simply just press your thumbnail to the back side, and then you can just peel them off. And then hopefully they don't go all over your room like they do in mine, but that's just because that's the way it goes. All right, so now we're gonna add this to the card front. Again, we're gonna just center it top, bottom, left, and right. All right, so then we're gonna add some Forever Greenery gold trim. Now this, I just used some retired gold trim. This is a little bit thicker. It's got multiple, I think there's like 9 or 10 kind of single threads in there. We're gonna use quite a bit of them. Actually, all of them. I'm just thinking how I wanna do this because I did pop this up. Okay, so I'm going to use one of those butterflies head already die cut. So let me pull those in. And I'm probably going to choose, if I had to, we can just look at this card here. I'm gonna use probably the mint macaron. I think that will look really nice. So we'll use that one, and then let's throw a yellow one in there, and then another. We'll just make that one kind of very similar to the sample card. So I want to help me add that gold thread, I'm going to reverse, I'm gonna add some of this seal to the back side of this butterfly, the larger one. And then I'm gonna take the thread and I'm gonna wrap it around my 4 fingers. I'm kind of gripping it right here and wrap it around 1, 2, 3, 4, and then where it started, you're going to cut it off. This is like a lot of thread. And let me grab my snips here. And we'll just carefully trim it off. Now this is a lot, maybe I didn't need that much. And we got that butterfly stuck to the thread there. So now I'm going to just add this to the back of the butterfly. I've got some edges pulling over to the top of it. We're just gonna actually tuck those underneath there. And then these will, the ends there, so they meet up there. And then we're going to take this card, we're gonna add a couple dimensionals on here because we wanna give it some height. So let me just add 2, and this is a little sticky. Could be, you just gotta take your time by adding the dimensionals. And I'm gonna flip this butterfly over. I want to definitely put it at an angle, and I'm gonna pull the gold Forever Greenery gold up a little bit. It's being a little stubborn, but let's just kind of get it over on this side so it kind of flows. There we go. All right, so we've got that. And that's in good placement. And then the next thing I kind of want to do is I want to put that sentiment panel on there. So let's grab this here, and I'm going to kind of estimate right now. So on the card example here, I extended it past the black panel, which I think adds a lot. So I'm going to trim this one down here with my paper snips, just a straight cut. And then to the left of the life, I'm going to trim that off as well. And then we're going to add some more adhesive. I would suggest this one be level to your card front because all the dimension is given to the butterflies. We're going to slide this underneath the gold trim. You can use your paper snips just to lift it up a little bit. And then before you stick it down, we just want to make sure you've got good placement. It's extending past the black there, which will add a lot to that card. And then we'll just give it a nice little press. Okay, so there, we're getting there. The next thing you can do is you're going to add those other 2 butterflies. You can bend them up just like this and add them. Now I added these. I did not add dimensionals to the back of these because I wanted just to, the larger butterfly, I wanted to be more the dominant one. So we'll just add these here. I'm going to put the bigger one down here because there's more room. And then this little one, let's have this one, we'll bend the wings a little bit. We'll have this one flying more towards the corner. Again, lift these up. I'm going to add some of those gold gilded gems. These are beautiful with this card design. They come in a sheet of 90, so a really good deal. I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool just because it's a little bit easier for me. I'm just going to add probably 3 of these, so I'm going to use the larger one over here in the right corner just to fill up this little space here. Then let's take a medium one. I think it's this one. Actually, I used a medium. Doesn't really matter. We'll use 2. Let's add this one here, and then a smaller one we'll just kind of bring over and put up here. Or let me see. Yeah, let's go over here. All right, so we're getting there. I did say I was going to add some of that Wink of Stella by flicking technique, so let me just grab some out of my other desk over here. And we're gonna basically do a little bit of a different technique with this one. Instead of flicking, we're just gonna tap. So let me put my scrap paper back underneath there again. And I'm just gonna remove the cap of the Wink of Stella. And I'll make sure there's enough in that barrel. It looks like there's definitely enough. If there wasn't, I would just push here where it says push, and the liquid will flow down into the barrel there. So I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm just going to simply tap the barrel. And I'm just going to see if I see any coming. I don't, so that's a good thing. I can show you how to do that. I'm just squeezing the barrel, and here it all comes. Way too much. So I'm just going to wipe that off. I'm going to gently splatter. There we go. I can see it. I'm not sure if you can see it because it's so hard to see something like this in a video, but I'll try to bring it a little bit closer to the camera just to see if you can see it. But it is really sparkly on my side, and if you haven't tried this technique, I would totally suggest you give it a try. It's like one of my favorite new techniques. All right, so let me just show you. Hopefully you can see that. I'm not sure if you can, but anyway, let me just bring these cards side by side. So here was my inspiration card last week when I designed a very basic card. And then here is the one that we made on my Facebook Live on Friday. No, this one is, of course, that's the one I used the blends. And then this is the one we just made today. So I hope you enjoyed today's card, and I taught you some new techniques. If you're interested in any of my card classes, I have 2 very active ones right now. I've got my Hydrangea Card Club class that has an expiration date of March 20th. And if you look at the video I just posted earlier this morning, I'm offering a home decor piece and a 4-card class. So that one expires also on March 20th. So I'll make sure I tag that video in this list here. So if you have any questions, you can always put something in the comment section, or you can email me at inspiredbygraham@gmail.com. Or for any of these products that I used today from Stampin' Up, you can visit my store at inspiredbygraham.com. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.